The Justice Department says the Mueller report's on track to still come out next week. A lot of people waiting for that. But rather than let the report just speak for itself in this crucial several days before it comes out, there's another top Trump appointee at the Justice Department speaking out a little bit. Mueller's former boss, Rod Rosenstein, and he's defending his new boss, Bill Barr, for how Mr. Barr depicted some of Mueller's findings. Rosenstein says that Barr was basically being, quote, as forthcoming as he can. So this notion that he's trying to mislead people, I think, is just completely bizarre. Now, Rosenstein's one of the few people alive who has read the whole report. So either he thinks Barr perfectly summarized it, an objective compliment, or he's playing defense here. And most people now know that Barr did take the unusual step of announcing his own views that went beyond Mueller before even providing Mueller's report to Congress. I would run out of room in the television frame to do more hand motions of how odd that was. And that's not all. Again, I don't know why they're doing this. As a reporter, it's interesting, but Rosenstein making separate waves in addition to that interview because he just offered his own sort of informal preview of what might be in the report, telling a small group of people to remember that the probe was focused on cyber crimes and Russian election interference, implying that's something to watch for in the report. This, according to comments he made at a lunch which leaked to Bloomberg. Now, Rosenstein's not simply defending Barr in all of this. He's defending himself because Barr, of course, name-checked him in a letter about the analysis that Barr decided Trump didn't obstruct justice by firing Comey or taking any other related actions. Of course, Rosenstein's involvement in that conclusion is potentially conflicted. At best, he's a witness in the obstruction case, because remember, he came to work for Trump and wrote the memo providing the pretext to fire Comey, which Trump later admitted was a cover story, a.k.a. a lie. And at worst, there are critics who say Rosenstein was pulled, knowingly or not, into contributing to an element of potential obstruction of justice. I'm joined now by former federal prosecutor John Flannery, and I need your help because just walking through a factual history there was kind of a mouthful. My apologies when you get to all the layers of it. What's your view of these little tantalizing morsels, and is there anything wrong here in your view?
Well, yes, certainly. I sort of think of them as a nested Russian lackey dolls, you know, one supporting each other. I mean, you had Barr the other day saying, I don't want to talk about the letter, and then you have Rosenstein go out and talk about it, and as you said, protecting himself. And what it looks like is the Justice Department is so despoiled now that they've become a political arm of the West Wing, and they can't help themselves. And the rhetoric in which you have Barr testifying that he's concerned about spies and spying. Then he says he has no evidence of it, and then he's talking about it before he's done any investigation of it. And I almost think it's a Nietzschean slip or Freudian slip, because what they're really talking about is they're still concerned about Pfizer and they're concerned about Page, and they want us all to overlook what Flynn and Jared did and Manafort, all of them, all of which is close to or facilitating Russia over us in our election. So the long and short of it is, I think that we continue to have obstruction, and we're having it in a larger way. And the House is making a mistake, not passing a resolution, not going forward with the subpoena, not asking a judge to release the material, and waiting. I think you can't win an argument you don't make, and we're not making that argument. We run our hands, we wring our hands, and then we don't do the things that we should do when we believe what we're saying and we're calling out as wrong action.
You can't win a legal argument you don't make. Is that sort of a court version of Michael Jordan? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
There is that, but I think it's more than law. I think it's in life, you know. Any time that you leave in doubt or you're silent, you seem to acquiesce.
Right.
I mean, that is a principle of law.
And so then that goes to Rosenstein's alleged acquiescence here, right? Because
yes, absolutely.
Is it striking to you that he seems to be a official who takes on some of the qualities of those around him? Because when he was Mueller's boss, so in theory he could make all sorts of decisions, but he really seemed to follow Mueller's lead on how to deal with that. and was more assertive about how important that probe was when he did come out and announce the Russian interference indictments, the only time we had a formal in-person announcement because of the national security nature of it. And now with Barr, I mean, he's on his way out. He can go do whatever he wants. But even in his final waning days, he's leaky and responding to the news cycles. Go ahead.
He doesn't believe that. Something has happened since Barr is there. The guts that some people seem to have that we celebrated because we might have a full and fair investigation has gone away. And it stopped at the waters of Trump and his family and finances. And what will tell us more in the days or years ahead is what really happened here, because something happened. And more conversation with those special counsel who left office, those who off the record, on the record, have disputed the conclusions of Barr and of Rosenstein. And Rosenstein, you're right, he's there defending himself, but I believe the pressure is enormous. And even to have the conversation that Mueller supposedly had with these two, you know, before they made the release. And one of the interesting things is there was a quote that it was not the president's intent. They believe that was clear, and that's why they could introduce their own summation, Rosenstein and Barr, that there was no obstruction. Well, that's not an inferential hop by any means, given what we are told about what Mueller found in his words in that fragment that they put in his 4-page political letter, agitprop, if you will.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.